are off to Liberia! Woohoo! This time, we are opening our own training center. Quick recap on how we got here. I originally got an email asking to go and teach fermentation in Kenya. My brother was going on a missions trip at the time, so I tried to see how would this coordinate. Turned out being the same week, the same country, the same city, in fact, 1 mile from where we were going at the same exact week. If that doesn't scream that we were supposed to go there and get involved in this, I don't know what does. But we've continued to have confirmation ever since then. I went and taught every 6 months at the training center. And then when COVID happened, we moved the training online. Today we have over 10,000 students taking that class online, all from very poverty-stricken regions of the world. So the impact was huge. So now we are opening our own training center in Liberia. This will not be connected to Thrive for Good, so we won't be receiving funding from them. Dave and I are working on opening our own non-for-profit, which we have to have completed before we travel this January. So that's in the process right now. But Thrive for Good has given us access to their PowerPoints from before they rebranded. So we have a base to start with, and we can just update them, add the things that we think are important, like biogas technology and solar dehydrating and calorie crop food security. This is huge because the area of Liberia is more poverty stricken than the area of Kenya or even Uganda. It's very important that they know how to grow their calories in addition to nutrient-dense foods. But before I say any more, let me introduce to you Pastor Ernest, the one who will be overseeing this facility and the one who owns the 350 acres. So welcome, Pastor.
I'm managed to have met Wendy Jackson as my instructor. Since I came out of Draft for Good Institute in Kitale, Kenya, she has continued to provide mentorship for me. Through her mentorship, I have been able to train over 42 pastors that are practicing organic farming and helping the family to feed and their community.
I wanted to tell everyone also that the Liberian government is behind this training center. They've granted us, we had a Zoom meeting with the officials, and they've granted us diplomat level visas as well. So we are special.
Some of the other confirmations we've had lately that are just so exciting to say that God is in this is that, number one, I was asked to give a TED Talk. Woohoo! So I'm so excited about that. I'll be able to talk about solutions for the extreme poor and how we're changing the world. Number two, we were watching a movie on GMO foods, and in the movie, they visited a seed bank, the largest seed bank in the United States. And I leaned forward in my chair and I went, I want to go there! I was so excited, I want to go there! And the next morning, I opened up my email. I kid you not, there was an invitation asking me to come and speak at this seed bank. God is so amazing. And then the third thing is last week, we ended up hosting the guy from Uganda that has 700 children in his orphanage. And while he was here at our house, we were able to show him some solutions that he didn't know existed that we can do to help them be able to feed the children. So this June or July, I'll be going over hopefully for several weeks to help implement some of those things so that they can have food at least every day. A lot of times these kids only get food once every other day, and it's just a half a cup of white corn flour porridge and 3 to 5 beans per child. So if they don't have food, they tell them that we need to fast, like have a spiritual fast day, because they don't want to tell the kids they don't have any food. It's pretty sad.
Yeah, Pastor Ernest, who we'll be working with to set up this training center, has 350 acres that already has many usable buildings for this training center. He's also going to be, once we get the classes going, there are going to be 30-day classes about every quarter. So
Liberia has extreme poverty. We had some missionaries who were in Liberia give us a call when they were with Pastor Ernest, and they told us that they go to Kenya frequently and they go to Liberia every year, and they wanted us to know that Liberia was way more poverty-stricken than anything they had seen in Kenya. And then when we were hosting the guy from Uganda last week, he said the same thing. He said Liberia is way more poverty-stricken than what we're dealing with. And remember, they get food like once every other day. So I kind of feel like the Father has taken us through a progression where when we first went to Kenya, we were teaching food preservation. The only way you teach food preservation is if you have extra food that you need to preserve. And then when we were talking with the guy from Uganda, they needed solutions for malnutrition-related diseases because they weren't getting enough nutrition. And I was able to give them ideas for free that they can do to be self-sufficient to add more nutrition to the children's diets, even in the baby's bottles. Then you go to Liberia, and we haven't been there yet, but my guess is that we are dealing with people who don't even have enough food. So calorie crop food security is going to be huge. I'm working on creating an online course on ancient grains right now. So I contacted the woman responsible for giving us einkorn, for repopulating it back into our culture that we can actually order it. So this is amazing because this woman actually went over to Israel. She was able to receive the seeds that were found in the Jericho archaeological dig, as well as seeds that were in the caves where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. And she's been regrowing these to restore the ancient grains that we once had, einkorn being one of them, is the oldest form of wheat that we have. Anyway, I had a Zoom meeting with her because I had some questions about my class on ancient grains, and I told her that we were going to be setting up this training center in Liberia, and I couldn't believe it. Her response right out of the gate was, "Why Liberia? Why do that there? Don't you know that's one of the poorest places in the world?" I thought, yeah, that's exactly why we're going. Scripture says that we're supposed to help the widows and the orphans, and so many people have, yet there's still over 42 million orphans. Why do you suppose that is? Why do we not seem to be winning the war against this? I submit that the problem is because people are perishing from a lack of knowledge. We have over 800 women that are dying every single day from malnutrition-related diseases. If they understood the resources that are around them, even beyond wild edibles, they could even juice wild grasses to get the missing nutrients that they need so they could live and not die. So if we have 800 women dying every single day, let's say if they have an average of 2 children per woman, that means every single day we have 1,600 more orphans that are being generated. I feel that is the root cause of this issue. I want to bring it home for a minute because I know you're going to be thinking, but we have issues here, and that's true. We absolutely do. One of the things we struggle with in America is having what's called hidden hunger. We have plenty of calories, but not enough micronutrients. This chart is a prime example. All of the plants listed on the bottom are plants that I could have growing in my own yard in Florida. They're perennials, and most of them are trees, and they need very little work once they're established, and you can eat from them all year long. Yet look how much more nutrition they have than the lettuce and the cabbage from the store. Here's a picture of that tree listed at the top, Chaya. I'm standing here with my husband and my son, but this tree will eventually be 13 feet tall, and I won't be able to out-eat the tree. It is estimated that we should have around 36,000 different strains of bacteria residing in our gut. Yet the average American has between 300 and 1,000. Remember the progress. You start with prebiotics, which comes from fiber from plant foods. Then that feeds the good probiotics, which then create postbiotics, which are small chain fatty acids, which go around and heal and seal the lining of the gut. It's estimated there's up to 300,000 edible plants on this earth. It's even been said that the Cherokee ate around 2,000 plants year-round. So let me ask you, the person living in America, how many plants do you eat year-round? Thrive for Good has also written an online course for Americans, and it's free of charge, so go ahead and check it out. Our goal for setting up this training center in Liberia is to teach food security, fuel self-sufficiency, creating their own fuel, nutrition and natural medicine, including wild plants, and income generation. So food security is going to mean calorie crops with ancient grains. One of the awesome testimonies that Ernest had was when COVID happened, they didn't have any rice that they could buy in the store. He said they really didn't have any supplies available in the store at all. So he thought, that's it. I'm growing my own rice. So he planted a big section of it. He had no idea what the yield would be because he didn't have any fencing that he could afford. He thought maybe the animals would take it all. But he ended up with a huge crop. It ended up being more than a year's worth of rice for him, his family, and those that work on his farm. And would you know, once they started eating the ancient rice, the heirloom rice, within that first year, they had tremendous health testimonies on how different of a results they were getting in their body because they weren't eating that biotech engineered free rice at the store. I guess it's not free, but the biotech engineered rice.
This is one thing I really want to share. It's so powerful. Over the past 3 years, when I started growing my own organic rice on the continent of Africa, there are few grains that are very important to our diet. We got the meals, which we call corn and rice. In my country, we eat more rice. 90% of our food is from rice. And since we started growing our own local rice, we have stopped experiencing a lot of illness. We stopped experiencing digestive problems, pain in the chest. That was my own problem. My wife would come down with a lot of clogs in her heart, and we have stopped. So I want to encourage people to strengthen and motivate people like when they would do with me in growing their own local food or open organic seed. We struggling and trusting the Lord to give this message to as many people as possible in Liberia and beyond. Thank you for listening to this powerful testimony.
So what is the need? What do we need help with? Well, I'm excited to tell you we have a lot of things already in place. He already owns the 350 acres. All the buildings are already there in place. We have already raised the money and purchased our plane tickets. We're leaving January 19th. We've raised the money for some of the equipment that was needed on the facility. Those have already been raised and purchased. We've raised the money for our lodging, for our transportation, for the food while we're there, and even the parking at the airport. So a lot of the basic needs have already been covered. So we just need help with a few last items. We need help with our visas. That's $300 total for the visas. We need help getting money so that we can buy a projector and a projector screen and speakers for the training center so they can actually show documentaries and certain teachings that we'll be sending over from America. We need them to have an ability to show those. I'm estimating that to be around $500 for that. And then also we're doing a project called Pack the Suitcase. Dave and I are each going to try to travel with just a backpack for our personal things. And then we'll have 2 suitcases that we can fill with items for the training center. And we have some protocol gifts to give different people that we're going to be visiting while we're there. But some of these items for the training center, we needed a DVD player and we needed different books and training books, DVDs for documentary. A lot of those things have already been donated. So people maybe had a used DVD player, and so people are helping to donate those items. We're bringing reading glasses and other things that they need. But I would say we probably could use another $300, something like that, to fill in. Like, no one has purchased the Chrome tablets yet. We can get them refurbished for $45, and we just need 1 or 2. So anyway, I would say we need about $300 for that. And above that, anything else that we can just go ahead and get further along with setting up the training center. For example, right now we're not going to have any bedding. So students who come to the first sessions or so until we can raise more money, is they will have to bring their own bedding. So if we had a little bit extra, we could actually buy bedding. But you know, we can get this done. We can get it done on a shoestring. And the other exciting part is we're turning this 350-acre farm into something that generates income. So this is not going to be an ongoing project where we have to fundraise continually. Our goal is to set this up to become self-sufficient in every aspect, including the training center. The last thing that we need that's very important is we purchased some solar lanterns to use as a fundraiser. We still have 42 left. So that's probably the biggest need of all, is if we could just sell the remaining 42 lanterns. That way we can pay off the investment in buying the lanterns, as well as having the little extra money that I just described that we need. So really, selling all 42 lanterns would take care of everything. So let me show you what they are. When they come, they're nice and flat. So you can actually leave them in your backpack or your purse, and they don't take up a lot of space. When you want to use them, there's a little thing on the back that you blow it up. So once you blow it up, you now have a lantern that looks like this. And it can be powered 2 different ways. There's a solar panel, so you can put this out in the sun. It takes about 14 hours of sunlight to bring it to a full charge, but the lantern will work for up to 50 hours on the lowest setting. So you don't have to continually be charging it. Now, if you don't want to use the sun, you can use this USB port. You can plug it in and you can recharge this lantern in about 2 hours using an outlet with a USB port. Now, what's exciting is this USB port is actually a 2-way charger. So in an emergency, you can go ahead and plug your phone in and you can get up to 30% charge on your phone. So it's great. And the whole thing is waterproof. So even if you get caught in a flood, you know, we know here in Florida that is very likely from what we saw from Irma this last time, or Ian, I guess it was. The other thing, just to show you what's on here, there's a battery indicator light. So when I push that, it shows me I have full power right now. I have 4 bars across there. The other button, this one right here, gives you the varying degrees of light. So the low setting is a nice soft ambient light. It's great for seeing enough to get around at night, get through rooms, things like that. But as you progress in the brightness level, you can get to task lighting. And this is definitely bright enough that I can read by, I can sew by, I can do whatever tasks I want. And I actually love lighting our house up at night with these instead of using electricity, because to me it's a little softer on the eyes and I can still see to do what I need to do. So I use them in the house all the time. So I'm going to show you some pictures of those in just a minute. But the last setting is you push this and it's a I need help beacon. And it goes on and off trying to beacon that you need help. So anyway, these are $50. And if you want to order one, we will pay for the shipping. So free shipping. We have 42 left. That is our biggest prayer, is we need to sell these to complete our fundraiser and to finish all the needs that we need for this project, which it's phenomenal that a project of this size is something that we've been able to bite off into small enough pieces to be able to get it done.
Hey everybody! Just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's helped us get to Liberia for this awesome country-changing trip, and to everyone that will go on over and help us. Thank you so much.
I would love to say a big thank you to all those who are donating to the fund drive to make the dream of organic farming, food preservation, and other essential benefit people can get from growing their own food in the back of their farm. I'm so happy to have you donating to this fund drive.
Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.